So I want to do another video about Mac gaming because I see this question come up a lot and I answer it a lot on the Reddit. Why aren't games ported to Mac? And almost always the answers given are completely wrong and off base. There's another thread here today posted 2 hours ago. Are the game limitations mostly hardware or OS based? And a lot of people replying either or when it's neither of those things. They're constantly saying, oh, it's the OS because there's software issues, or it's the hardware because there's Mac issues, and it's neither. Let me let you in on a big secret about game development. People would port a game to a toaster if it had the market share. Period. That's all it comes down to. Will the game sell? They don't care how powerful or weak the hardware is. They will make it work. AAA games have ported their games to the Switch. Think about that for a second. The Switch. The Switch is many magnitudes weaker than even the lowest end Mac on Apple Silicon right now. I can guarantee you that MacBook Air can run circles around the Nintendo Switch, but you want to know why the Switch is getting ports and the MacBook Air isn't? Because the Switch has a bigger market share. That is the only reason that matters here. Metal API proprietary? Think that matters? It doesn't. What do you call DirectX? Proprietary graphics API. What do you call what Nintendo Switch is running? Proprietary graphics API. PlayStation 4, proprietary. Xbox, proprietary. Every single system's running a different proprietary API. There is no unified API that's cross-platform besides, OpenGL and Vulkan. And you know what? Very few actually use that. They will write their game in 5 different proprietary APIs and not care about it because of market share. I don't know why I keep seeing people answer, oh, it's because Apple's a proprietary API. People don't want to write games from Metal. That is not, nor has it ever been, the reason for the lack of Mac game ports. And then the next thing I've talked about is difficulty. That's another thing that comes up a lot about porting games to Mac. They don't want to port games to Mac because it's time investment. It's hard to do, It takes so many man hours to get a game that's running on Windows to run on Mac. Let me tell you a story. I talked to devs at Blizzard about Overwatch coming to Mac, and I heard a story about it that was both alarming but yet not surprising. They had a team of 3 guys internally in their off time, lunch breaks, stuff like that, whip together a demo of Overwatch running on a Mac. Yes, that's right. They had a working prototype of Overwatch running on macOS, not emulated, a native application. And they showed it to the bosses and said, we made this, and it was a trifle. It was easy because, one thing you got to realize is these engines that these game developers use, they already support Mac. Blizzard, they already have games on Mac. Diablo 3, World of Warcraft, StarCraft 2, Hearthstone. Their engine can run on Mac, no problem. And they know how to code for Mac, no problem. So the people are always talking about, oh, they gotta hire Mac developers or people that know how to port it and etc, etc. They already have that in 9 times out of 10. At least these big AAA companies, indie devs is a different story. The point is, they showed this demo to their project manager, and the project manager still said, no. We cannot justify the expenditure of a Mac port. And it's not that the Mac port was hard, but there's many factors people aren't considering. Again, they're talking about the APIs and developer skill or the OS or the Macs being capable or not. And they're missing the point. The point is profitability margins. That's it. That is all that matters here. And a publisher like Blizzard or any other company is going to look at the market share and go, if we support Mac, we need to have the developers make the Mac app. That's not the hard part. The hard part is now we need QA. We need customer service. We need sales. We need support articles. We need all this stuff, all this extra staffing people we gotta hire and maintain, because they can't just throw the app out there and be done with it. They have to support the app continually. They have to answer emails, forum posts, in some cases phone calls from Mac users going, I need help. And they need staff to deal with that. And this means paying salaries or hourly wages to additional staff to support this product. And to support that, that means they have to still maintain profitability in this trivial market share. And they go and look at the numbers and they go, we're not going to make any money here. At best, we break even. At worst, we lose money supporting this platform. No. And that's where the problem is. And I want to talk about this too. I want to bring up other tools. I was talking about how in-house engines already support Mac. So do the public ones. Here's Unreal Engine. Unreal Engine 5.2 brings native support to Apple Silicon. Download Unreal Engine. Here's a download page. Support. Windows, Linux, Mac. You have an Unreal Engine game? You pretty much already support Mac out of the box. All you gotta do is use the tools that are provided by the engine you're already using, and you can get a running demo pretty quickly. Of course, again, you get back into the QA and everything else department. It's the after costs that are an issue. But people are always talking about it's hard to port games to Mac. No, it isn't. Do you know how close DirectX 12 and Metal are, despite the fact they're different proprietary APIs? One last thing, though, is about the only pain point that existed still was shader conversion. And Apple last year released a tool for that. The shader converter. So you can convert, your DirectX shaders to Metal with this tool. And that cuts a lot of dev cost and time out as well, because they recognized that was probably the only pain point, software-wise, for porting games to Mac. Plus all the other stuff with this, game porting toolkit for testing the game in the first place. Again, show that the Macs are capable hardware and the OS is capable. That this further proves the point. You can literally run AAA games on Mac that aren't even ported yet with this tool, and they run well, barring, running on an under-spec system with too much expectation. This is what matters. Now, I had a hard time finding images from 2024. A lot of the images are 2020 or 2019, but they still paint the picture that I didn't want to show, and that's this, Windows 8, Windows 7, Windows 10. You add all the Windows together, and you're looking at 35% market share. And I include mobile for a reason, and I'll get to that. And you look at macOS, 6.5%. It's bigger now, and I'll get into that too. But now, you look at this large Windows slice, and then this tiny little Mac slice. This is why they're not porting their games. Apple knows this. And Apple's trying to fix it in a way that people don't understand yet, and that's why I talked about in my last video. I'll talk about a little bit here. And that's that Apple knows that they add this and this together. This slice is big enough to fix the problem. This is the problem, but this wouldn't be a problem. Now this one is again another comparison that breaks it down by percents, and it puts all the windows together, like I said, around 35, 36%. Now, 1 year after, mind you, and Mac actually grew. Mac has been growing consistently the last few years. In fact, I wanted to show this. Windows market share has fallen a little bit. Mac has been growing for years. Because Macs are actually, they're turning things around, especially with Apple Silicon. I wish I had a current graph, because I think the latest reports are that Mac is actually over 10% now of desktop due to Apple Silicon. But anyways, this is the only reason games aren't coming to Mac. If Apple can grow the market share, that is all they need. So what we're looking at here, this year, Apple got games to start working on the iPhone 15. And I obviously did a video on this that explained that Apple's strategy is long-term. You know, people are calling it a flop already because they're not seeing the big picture. But I'm going to outline it again shortly here. Because again, I need to emphasize what's going on with Mac gaming. And that's that Apple has accepted that Mac gaming won't work unless it's Mac and iOS gaming combined into a single ecosystem. Now, with the release of the iPhone 15, the market share of this grew by a tiny sliver into this one. Now, people expect this overnight. Most of this, right now, in 2014, obviously this market share is old data, it's 2019, but just use your imagination. Most of this share is still the iPhone 14 and older. You know, but every year now, the iPhone 15, the iPhone 16, the iPhone 17, more older devices are going to move into the sliver that supports Mac games. So like this market share is going to gain a sliver to here. The next year it might go to here. Then I'll go to here. Then I'll go to here. Apple's long-term strategy is to combine these. When these combine, the market share will be over 20%, probably around 25%, because like I said, macOS is up to 10% at this point. I don't know what iOS is at the moment. But the point is, it's no longer going to be 35% to 6% like it was 5 years ago. It's going to be 35% or maybe even lower, like 32% to 25%. Now people are going to port their games to Mac. They'll be coming in droves. Well, it won't just be Mac. See, Apple's long-term strategy is Mac and iOS. Frankly, that they're never gonna, no matter how easy they make porting, no matter how good this tool is, they can make it, you could push a button on a desk and magically you have a macOS application. They still wouldn't sell Mac versions of their product. And like I said, there was a prototype of Overwatch already running on Mac, and they still said no, because it wouldn't be profitable. Or if it was profitable, it would only be like break-even margins or only such a sliver that they just didn't want to deal with it. It has to actually make money. See, people don't realize, well, they do and don't at the same time, they forget a lot, is that game development is a business. A business to make money. That's the bottom line. And Mac doesn't make enough money. That's what it comes down to. You can get caught up in a whole bunch of other stuff. Graphics APIs, hardware, software. None of that matters. Because as we've seen with the market, if there's a market share, if there's a demand, a developer will jump through no matter how many hoops or fires are in their way to make it happen. They will make a AAA game run on a toaster. Hell, they'll make it work on your smart refrigerator if it had market share. You could be playing fucking Skyrim Ultimate Special Second Super Edition on your smart refrigerator one day if there's enough market share for it. That's the bottom line. That's all there is to it. TLDR of the whole video, if you only watch the final 5 minutes, 5 seconds of it. Market share is all that matters. Period. Everything else you hear is wrong or bullshit. Games will come to Mac and iOS when a company deems it profitable enough to do so. Period. Anyways, sorry for the longer than expected video, but I just wanted to talk about this point because, quite frankly, when I read replies that are just so off base, I just want to go and scream. It's like, y'all don't know what you're talking about. It's Market 101. Supply and demand. Anyways, I'm done. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.